As a part of my job, I get to see very brief glimpses into people's homes all the time. I get to see just I get to see like 1 or 2 seconds of someone else's world. Now, it's insane to me because that brief moment, it really tells you a whole lot about the person. And mainly, the main thing that conveys what about the person is the cleanliness of the home. I used to be held to some good standards, just normal. I wouldn't say extreme cleanliness standards by my parents, but just normal maintenance, upkeeping, right? But it always made me compare myself to like other kids growing up based on how like I guess strict their parents were whenever I'd go to their houses and hang out with them and stuff. But I'd always compare. I'd always compare my parents to someone else's parents or my situation to someone else's situation, whatever. I'd always end up comparing. Now, whenever whenever I would do that, it would always be surface level. It would always be like, "Oh, this person, let's say their parents make a lot more money than mine, right?" So I'd always just automatically assume that they'd be having a higher quality of living standard because more money, right? And I'd always get very jealous or I would get upset if someone from a better background was mean to me. I'd always be like, man, I'm like the rich kid bullies the poor kid kind of deal. It's like what the hell? What I do to deserve this? But I'd always I'd always imagine like even though something on the outside looks better than what I have, that's not always the full story. I would go to these big, beautiful houses at work, these big mansions, these very nice, like two-story buildings with beautiful exteriors. I'd go to these houses to deliver the pizza, and the customer opens the door. The inside's a fucking mess. Whether it be miscellaneous objects, general just trash, or maybe just a bunch of boxes everywhere, maybe a bunch of just toys, something. The inside would not be like upheld. It would always be a mess. There are some houses I'd go to where it was just trash, just garbage, food waste, trash. There'd be apartments I'd go to where it's just pizza boxes stacked up, empty 2 liters, just trash. And I'd look at these houses, I'd look at them, it's like such a beautiful exterior. It's such a nice building. Obviously, at least $1 million home, at least $1 million in North Texas, at least. And they would like be disgusting on the inside. It'd be fucking gross. And it made me realize like, why am I comparing myself to these people? You know? Why am I comparing myself to people who obviously like one don't have like any self-regulating kind of sense of responsibility in terms of like not living in filth, but also like these people are okay with just looking good instead of being good, It's something like that. What I'm trying to say is that comparison, there's always a caveat to it. It's never just so cut and dry. So don't be too hasty to compare yourself to other people, especially when you don't know the full range of which you're comparing to. Thank you.